Hello, Bible readers. It is Tuesday, April 6th. We're reading from 2 Kings, chapter 18, verse 9, to chapter 19, verse 37, and then Romans, chapter 11, verse 11, through chapter 12, verse 8. Happy Easter. I get to keep saying that for, 7 weeks. So, in the Romans text, chapter 11, verses 1 to 10, which I know were a part of yesterday's readings, not today's. But what Paul's getting at is God has not rejected Israel. He wants to make that very clear that the bulk of today's reading is to say that all Israel will be saved. Underline and highlight and embold all. The question Paul's trying to address here is, are we dealing with a straight shooter? Is God a trustworthy God? And if this God made a bunch of promises to Israel and now has kind of moved on from them, why wouldn't we think that someday God will move on from us? Of course, Paul's point that he's trying to make is that, in fact, God has not moved on. Paul argues all of this that's happened is for that original covenant people. It's a way to bring about the completion of all the promises that were originally made. And so eventually, Paul is saying, the chosen ones, the Jews, will follow Jesus. And he's got a few different points that he makes to make his argument. It's a complicated section. It's fraught with, it's been used in ways that are very racist. Religious exclusivism can be a result of interpreting this text in certain ways. I think we need to remember Paul is a Jew, transformed in faith in Jesus. This chapter would be worth a longer study. Chapters 12 to 16 of Romans, it's the last section of Romans, and it's about God's call to worship, holiness, and unity, and how unity is expressed through our worship. We leave the more theological section once we get to chapter 12, and we enter into a section that's more about the so what. Paul gets practical in this last part of Romans. Paul's vision, it's important, maybe chapter 11 is made a little more clear by how Paul talks in chapter 12 and beyond. His vision has unity where others see none. Okay, so 2 Kings, we're back to the last days of Judah. We've been introduced already in 2 Kings. By the time we get to 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 9, we've been introduced to Hezekiah, the reformer. And now we read about Sennacherib, the Assyrian, and how he brings his armies to Judah. And there's these two sections. The first challenge, and notice there's 2 decades between the time when Samaria falls and then finally Sennacherib comes after Judah. So the first challenge for him is to take out the fortified cities. The second challenge will be Jerusalem itself. The climax is that the Lord sends his own angel who decimates the Assyrians. Sennacherib goes home to Nineveh and is assassinated there by his sons. Quite a story. Of course, it's a temporary reprieve as Judah will eventually fall. But that's for another day. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.